Hey y'all! Welcome to Marvel-ous Movie Mondays. I am Dill. That is Kels, otherwise known as
Hi.
Dylan and Kelsey. If you need both syllables, um, this is our podcast where we talk about Marvel stuff. This week, again, another off week as nothing Marvel comes out. We still have a few more weeks till Spider-Verse, so we're filling in the off season this month because I'm doing my 10 years later retrospective on the channel and on Letterboxd at Dylan_Randazzo. We're looking at movies from 10 years ago. Last week we looked at Iron Man 3, did a commentary track for that. Today we're doing a commentary track for Thor: The Dark World. So get your Disney Pluses ready, your Disney Plus eye, your DVDs, your Blu-rays. If you have an old standard projector with film, you can grab that too if you have this film on reel. And we're going to start about 3 minutes into this thing and pressing play at 3 minutes. So we're going to give you 2 minutes now to get that situated before we dive into the dark world of Asgard and all that stuff. Kelsey, how are you doing? Sorry, I've been talking for a whole minute without letting you speak.
Hey, I'm doing good, Dill. You know, I've been sending you these little rankings I've been making throughout the week because I think I'm like missing Marvel. We're kind of in this like weird off season.
Yeah.
When is the next movie coming out? The Marvels.
For MCU, yeah. For Marvel, we have Spider-Verse in like 2 weeks, but otherwise, yeah, we have to wait till like, is it November for the Marvels? And then like
Yeah.
Secret Invasion somewhere in there. They just announced that Echo is going to drop all on the same day, so we're not even going to get a weekly thing for that. We'll podcast weekly about it, but we're getting all the episodes at once for Echo later in the year too. But we're in a little bit of an off-season slump.
Yeah.
And this is a weekly show, so we have a minute left. Hope you're getting your Disney Pluses ready, or whatever other method you have. Start cranking the reel, get the popcorn popped. It takes about a minute to pop some popcorn. Kelsey's comfortable in her living room. I'm comfortable at my desk. I got my little Thor pop behind me. My little guy with it's
Oh,
Ragnarok Thor.
cute.
He's got like the Surtur helmet in his hand.
Nice. He should have short hair though to
Just
be
because
film accurate.
you probably won't listen through this to the credits, but we have trivia next week, so stay tuned next week for some trivia, including a number one contender match with Stacy and Noah, which is going to be lots and lots of fun. All right, we have less than 30 seconds till we hit play, people. Let's get this ready. We're going to hit play as this video hits 3 minutes. I will count it down from 10 in just a few seconds. Everyone get ready for the greatest Marvel movie ever made. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Play. And there we go.
All right.
And remember,
Credits
you
are
won't
rolling.
be able to see the movie here or hear the movie here if you're listening on podcast because of copyright. But you'll be able to watch it on your own and hear our feed in there. Trivia right off the bat. This is the first time we have heard this fanfare intro, this music. Which I think so. I think this fanfare music, and it's done by the composer of this film, which is
Brian
Kelsey.
Tyler.
There you go.
But what I was saying, Dill, is that I've been making these little rankings because a ranking came out on TikTok. This like random TikToker came out with his ranking of all 32 MCU films. And I thought that it was absolutely bananas and the wackiest ranking I've ever seen because the fandom likes to favor some movies over the others. And I just wanted to see just mathematically as like what the fandom prefers, what the fandom really likes. So I took like the numbers of the Rotten Tomato scores, the audience scores, our Letterboxd scores. And Thor: The Dark World is pretty much in the back half of all those lists. If you just go off of Letterboxd scores alone, Thor: The Dark World is at the bottom of everyone's list.
Yeah, and I will say it has typically been at the bottom of my list. But I have not watched this movie since the last time I did a full MCU binge was for Infinity War in 2018, 5 years ago. So this movie came out 10 years ago. I didn't see it till probably 2015, 16 for the first time. And then I watched it again in 2018 in prep for Infinity War, but I haven't rewatched this film again. So I'm very interested to see what I think of it. It is the shortest MCU film. That's another bit of trivia. It's less than 2 hours. So it is the shortest MCU film to date.
It's shorter than Multiverse of Madness?
Correct. I believe.
Wow.
Or at least that's what IMDb said. Maybe they haven't updated it since, but I can let you know.
Or maybe
Multiverse of
multiverse.
Madness is 2 hours and 6 minutes. So yeah, this is
Okay.
shortest. The second shortest, can you take a guess what might be the next shortest? I have that info as well.
After Thor: The Dark World.
And it's not Multiverse of Madness.
Is it? I want to say
It's
Thor:
phase
Love
one.
and Thunder.
I was gonna say it's phase one.
The Incredible Hulk.
Yes, it is. The Incredible Hulk is the second shortest. I believe it's the only other one under 2 hours. But what's interesting about this opening sequence, a lot of people have like dinged this film for the visuals, but a lot of people think one of the highlights is the visuals and how like distinctly, unique the world building is. Like it's very distinct. Like you see shots from this film, it's from this film, and that could work for or against a film. But I think some of the actual like visual effects some people have complained about, it's because the extras couldn't do any of the action sequences in the costumes they made for them. So they had to then instead have only these like few actors that we see up close and close-ups wearing the costumes, and everyone else is CGI. So all those battles, all those fighting, it looks so artificial because it is. It's all extras. So I think that's fun, or not fun, but it's a fun fact. Though I don't know if it's necessarily the ideal outcome that Alan Taylor and the rest of the company wanted. And we'll talk a lot about Alan Taylor and his involvement in the film, or vice versa, his involvement in the film, specifically in post-production, because he's gone on record saying he had full creative reign on set, but then they locked him out of the editing room because Feige was like, all right, now I'm going to make the movie I want to make, which is, I think, a detriment. I think the filmmaker who films the movie should also have a say in how it overall looks to the audience. But
right
now we have Loki.
So Loki's just coming off of his Battle of New York.
Yeah. Loki was not going to be in this film, in the first version of it. He was going to be kind of just locked up somewhere else, and they were going to reintroduce him later. But because he was so popular following the Avengers 2012, they literally rewrote the script to include him. And keep in mind, this is coming out a little over a year after the Avengers, but not more. Like, this came out, I believe, like 14 months after the Avengers. So it was a quick turnaround to rewrite for to include Loki in this film. And I'll argue that Loki is the best part of this film. So I think it was a good rewrite for sure.
I feel like the Thor Loki stuff is kind of the best stuff in this film, and we don't have a ton of it.
I'll correct you there, Kels. It's the best stuff in all the Thor films.
All right.
Except for Love and Thunder, because he's dead, but
I agree with you, Dill.
I think it's the best part of Ragnarok. I think it's the best part of the original Thor. I think it's one of the best relationships in the MCU that isn't romantic.
Yeah. There's a lot of...
I love Anthony Hopkins. He owns every role.
He
can, dialogue could be.
He can really do no wrong here. Your birthright, how he hit that T, was to die.
Do you have a favorite Anthony Hopkins performance, Kels?
I mean, I just love Silence of the Lambs so
that's
much.
A cliche, but that's also the correct answer.
That's one of my favorite Halloween time movies for sure.
It's one of my favorite movies, period. Yeah, Anthony
you gearing up another fun fact for me?
No, I was putting ointment on a scar.
I thought it looked like you were leaning over to like a notebook. I was like, ooh.
No. Something started to heal, and I'm trying to heal it even more.
How's your eye?
It's great. As you can see, people, I'm wearing contacts again.
Nice.
You can't tell anything was ever wrong with it, honestly.
No, not at all.
Now we're in Vanaheim.
One of the 9 realms.
I haven't really looked into each of these places to see if they're comic places or they're invented for the movie. I assume they're from the comics, but do you also like the aesthetic of this film? Because it's the thing with Thor is the first film is so like regal and gold because it's Kenneth Branagh who's done all these Shakespeare movies. And then this one's very like kind of green and yellow kind of tone, sepia tone almost in ways. And then the next one is Taika Waititi, completely like stripped of color, almost sitcom-y type, way of shooting the film. And then Love and Thunder is another breed of movie. So like, which version of the Thor aesthetic do you prefer?
I mean, I agree with you, Dill. You have a big problem with scenes that get too gray and too void of
Murky.
color.
Mhm.
And one of my favorite things about, we are just coming off of watching Guardians 3, and one of my favorite things about those movies is that James Gunn doesn't shy away from color and making things look, really interesting and vibrant and stuff. And so, as far as aesthetics go, I think Thor the Ragnarok, the Sakaar aesthetic is probably my favorite, just because,
Nice.
I like some color. These movies get too gray sometimes, too serious.
I will say I don't mind the color grading here though. Like the way he kind of pops with the blonde hair and the red. Like the color grading's good in this. And look, there's our first vision of a I'm forgetting the name of the breed of monster alien, but it's Korg species. First time we see Korg species.
Cronin?
Cronin, there we go.
Oh my god, you're so right, Dill. It's a Cronin.
It's a Cronin.
Why are we fighting the Cronins?
Well, this Cronin's a big bad Cronin. Ooh.
Do you think he held hands over a fire with another male Cronin and made a baby Cronin?
I don't know.
I hope so.
So Chris Hemsworth, fun fact, as we talked about when I talked about the pop figure behind me, he has different hair in every movie, but he made it a purpose to grow out his hair for this role, because in the first film, obviously, it's very evident he's wearing a wig. In Avengers, he's very evidently wearing a wig, but he grew it out for this film because he was like, I'm wearing the wig, and then grew it out, and then they cut it off in the next film anyway. But fun fact, grew out his hair.
And now we see Zachary Levi.
Yep. The first time I watched this, the first time I saw this movie, I was like, "Oh, Ben Affleck's in this," and then I was like, "That's not Ben Affleck." He looks like Ben Affleck with that wig though, like, because I don't know, something about his facial characteristics. I thought it was Ben Affleck the first time I saw this.
I wonder why Josh Dallas was no longer a part of.
I could tell you.
Oh my god! Please.
He had a different commitment for a different movie. I just got to find the name of the movie because I didn't write that down, but. He was filming some other movie. Let me try to find it. Do you like Josh Dallas or Zachary? Oh, it's called Once Upon a Time. Oh, it's the show on ABC, Once Upon a Time.
Oh,
he plays Prince.
Who is
Charming,
he? So. He's Prince Charming.
Josh Dallas, yeah.
Interesting.
So he was just busy with commitments for that. Which honestly, that's a series, an ongoing series. He probably likes that paycheck. Actually, I don't know. The paycheck here is pretty nice, I'm sure, but.
I feel like being on a TV show, though, that paycheck is more consistent.
Yeah, you're getting.
Whereas, like these movies, you don't know if you're going to get invited back to be in the next Thor movie.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And you don't know how big the role is going to be with all rewrites and editing and stuff. Whereas, if you're Prince Charming in a fairy tale series, you're going to at least have a prominent feature. So yeah, I like the long hair, Chris Hemsworth. This is probably the best look for Thor in terms of just like. There's no glitz and glam, but there's also no like it feels still godly. I think that's the one thing about the newer movies. I get it's more comfortable and more convenient and practical to have his hair cut short, but it's like this to me gives the kind of godlike presence,
Yeah, this is a very classic Thor look. I like how they both have like little braids in their hair too.
Yeah.
Like
I think this commentary, while not maybe bumping this up in my ranking, might still give me a little bit more appreciation for this because I haven't watched these movies since Love and Thunder and since I've soured on some of the other aspects of modern MCU filmmaking with like visuals and stuff. Like this feels very much like it's in a past era almost, and I feel like it maybe got a little hate. But now, having seen what we've seen, maybe we'll kind of reappraise certain aspects of it. Because I have some critics I follow that like are big defenders of this film because it does have a distinct vision. It's trying to bring like dark fantasy into the MCU. I think the problem is the Thor films in general are very inconsistent. Even the first and second film are very inconsistent visually. Then these two films are so inconsistent with what Taika's doing, and I think it's just a matter of preference. Kelsey, you were looking down for the shirtless shot.
Oh, I missed shirtless Chris Hemsworth.
We can't rewind this because it's a commentary.
Well,
we got to keep it going.
My favorite Chris is Chris Evans anyway, so you
let me know. You will see in this movie. I was going to say.
Yes, but not shirtless, though.
No,
I was just looking to see. I'm looking at the cast. Hogan. It was bothering me for so long when he had that scene with Hogan. I was like, what are their names? It's Ballstag, Thandrel. What's this guy's name? Hogan. I'm just sitting. here quizzing myself.
Yeah. Do you know who wrote the film, Kels?
Ooh, I don't. I don't. I'm not even gonna try to take a guess.
Yeah. So Don Payne. Don Payne.
Never would have come up with that name. He did make popcorn though for the occasion.
He's a writer. Oh, that's very loud.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, that is yeah. You might want to okay. He's a guy who wrote a lot of episodes of The Simpsons, actually, and he co-wrote Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. He also wrote the original Thor, and of course Thor: The Dark World. And then sadly, he passed away in March of 2013 from bone cancer, so he never actually got to see this film come to light, which may be a good or bad. Not a good thing in the fact that he died, but maybe a good thing that he never got to see the hate for this film.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, very interesting career, but very sad that this was his last film and he never got to kind of see the release of it. All right, now we're getting back to Earth.
I love how Lady Sif is the only friend who we see pop in like other projects.
What do you mean?
Like she was in Loki. She had that moment in Thor: Love and Thunder. Like we never hear about any other of the friends.
Right. I mean, I assume it's alluded that they probably died at the beginning of Infinity War, right? Like when Thanos took over, maybe? Or no, are they still alive in the other movies? Because like Heimdall died. I don't know. Yeah. I love how Chris O'Dowd got this little paycheck for this because he's so good in everything he's in. I mean, Bridesmaids. He was great in the Of Mice and Men Broadway revival. He's just a really clutch actor who just like is always good in a pinch, but never like a headliner either. Right. Just always good when you need him.
I was gonna say I've definitely seen this guy in a bunch of things.
Do you think Kat Dennings just got PTSD from Two Broke Girls when he asked her to take their order, thinking she was a waitress?
Was she doing Two Broke Girls when this came out?
I'm sure. I think that show ran 10 years too long, so probably.
Oh my god.
I've only watched like 2 episodes of that, could not get into it. And I love Kat Dennings. I just could not get into it.
Yeah. That style of sitcom. We don't really see that anymore.
No. Just imagine being on a date and all this happens. Like, how do you react? Like, if you're him, not them. But
I would be like, all right, I guess it's time to go.
Banana Ball's an improv line from Kat Dennings.
Nice. Improv queen.
Oh, that is actually really funny. So, I just watched I am a Disney food blog enthusiast, right? So I love to hear the new menu items at all the restaurants at Disney World, Disney Cruise Line, all that stuff. And there's a video they recently did where they were ranking all the restaurants on Disney Cruise Line. They were going through the pros and cons of each one, and every restaurant had sea bass on the menu. I guess it's just something that like the Disney chefs, maybe it's a good like resource. Maybe they just have a lot of it. It's an easily accessible protein or whatever. But sea bass is on every freaking menu, including the Marvel restaurant menu. So
maybe sea bass is just like really cheap.
Yeah, I mean sea bass comes from Norway, Norwegian sea bass. So like maybe, or you can sometimes get Icelandic sea bass. I think I don't know. I might be making shit up, but hey, the fact that he wanted the sea bass. I forget about this guy every time. Yeah,
Ian.
I always get thrown off when I see her on the phone. I'm like, "Girl, drive," and then I remember she's on
the other side of the road.
Oh man, Stonehenge. I didn't even write down trivia for Stonehenge just because there was so much trivia on the Stonehenge stuff because it was such a particular shooting schedule type thing where like they could only film in like 3 hours early in the morning because it was the perfect lighting, but then they needed to open Stonehenge to the public at a certain time, so they needed to do it before it was open to the public. But then also they couldn't touch any of Stonehenge. They couldn't get close enough, so they had to film it in a way that made it look like he was closer than he actually was. It was apparently hell to get that Stonehenge shot. But what I appreciate is that they got the actual Stonehenge shot. They didn't cheap out and do green screen. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Because nowadays it would have 100% been on green screen. But I like how they were like, no, we're gonna actually do it.
That's cool. They were at the real Stonehenge.
Yeah, because they wanted to make a movie, not digitalize a movie. I don't know. I get petty about that shit, but I'm like, why not? If you can, do it.
Here, I'm just noticing this truck that's on its side in the background. I'm like, that looks like something tragic might have happened there.
I just find it interesting sometimes, like in sequels, they always like to kind of split up the love couple that got together in the last film almost. You know what I mean? Like Jurassic World does it, some other films do it. And it's like it almost feels like every time we get into another Thor movie, it's like Thor and Jane are on their separate paths, and then we have to get them together again. You know, like because Love and Thunder is the same way. Norman Emerson and Sons Ltd. That'll be a 5-pointer someday.
Damn, I can't even rewind. Wait, is this the truck that was on its side? No, I've got it in the parking lot.
Yeah, some of the editing is a little weird. It's like, wait, what am I looking at? Where were we? What's the geography of the scene? Some directors just really understand the geography of the scene well, and I think it's something that's underrated when making a movie is like understanding where the context of where the character's in with the spatial relationship at all times. Like James Cameron does it so well with Titanic and Avatar, like really understanding the layout of the space, you know. Oh, I love this. Yeah, there are like cool things in this movie that like I always forget about, but all in all, it's, you know, it's a dark world.
Yeah, I think just comparatively to all the other movies, it kind of just gets lost in the shuffle.
Well, because also kind of what we talked about with Iron Man 3, I think a lot of the people's complaints about it was like it had just come off of the Avengers, and how do you top it? I think Iron Man 3 tops it because it takes the character in a very fascinating direction. But some people just expected everything to go up from there, and it would eventually with Infinity War and Endgame. But like, and now we're gonna get Secret Wars and maybe the Kang Dynasty, even though they just fired the writer on it, and maybe they'll maybe they'll scrap the project altogether. I don't know, but you know, it's like I think some people have unreal expectations. Though that is also my complaint with the Ant-Man movies, is because like Ant-Man came out, I think, right after Age of Ultron, and then like Ant-Man and the Wasp came out right after Infinity War, so they just feel a little smaller in comparison, which is I guess the point. But it's like I get when you're watching the entire MCU as a whole, some of like the smaller projects,
it's almost like
stories feel smaller in retrospect.
They should plan out the phases to end on a big Avengers movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They should have ended Phase 2 with Civil War, because then it's like the band's broken up. Now what? Or ended with Age of Ultron and started with Ant-Man, I guess, and then go to Civil War.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem is they want to kick off Phase 3 with Civil War, so they were like, all right, well, we got to fit in Ant-Man before Civil War, so I guess the logical place would be to put him here. If anything, they should have done Ant-Man, then Age of Ultron, then Civil War.
Yeah.
And I get, like, there wouldn't have been a break between Age of Ultron and Civil War. Those are two huge movies. But then, hey, they're two huge movies. Make that money.
Drinking your seltzer, Dill? You seltzer guy these days?
I'm a big seltzer guy. I realize the reason I'm addicted to soda is because of the carbonation, not the taste. I like the taste, but like I've always loved soda, but ever since I kind of quit soda, I went to diet soda because, you know, no calories, but I've even kind of jumped now from diet soda to black cherry, especially black cherry. I love cherry flavored shit.
Yeah.
It doesn't taste like medicine to me if it's carbonated. A black cherry like flavored water, forget it. It tastes like medicine. But black cherry seltzer, I'll have it all day. Ether. Oh boy.
Oh geez, Louise.
I think a lot of the reason this movie doesn't work, and I love her to death. Like, Black Swan, probably my favorite Best Actress winning performance of all time. I think it's because her heart's not in it. You can very clearly tell that Natalie Portman's not as excited this time around, and it shows, I think.
Hmm.
And it's why she stepped away
Interesting.
from the MCU, because she was like, I'm kind of done. Like, she's like, I didn't want to be like roped into this franchise, because she had already come off of Star Wars, where she was, I think, great in it, but got a lot of hate for it because people just hate on the prequels. So when you're the lead of a franchise, it's hard to jump into another. And I think another big weakness of the film is unfolding before our eyes right here.
The villain?
Yeah. Do you remember his name?
Malekith.
Okay. You're probably one in a
Played by
100
Christopher Eccleston.
Yes. I guess because we're Marvel enthusiasts, we know. But, like, if you ask the normal person on the street, who's the villain in Thor the Dark World? I guarantee 90 of them say Loki, 10 of them say I don't know, and none of them say Malekith.
Yeah. You're probably right.
Because Loki's not the villain of this movie. It's Malekith.
Mm-hmm.
Malekith, we'll get more into Malekith. But I want you to start thinking of the two actors who were up against Christopher Eccleston for the role. And I'll tell you, they're both from the MCU, and they're both from the same movie. That's a hint I'll give you.
All right. I have one.
All right.
The guy who plays Kurt in the Ant-Man movies. Dalmatian.
And who do you think the other one was? If you had to guess. Because I said this from the same movie.
Let me think.
I've always been a little put off by the glowing eyes for some reason. I don't know. It reminds me of like cats when they're in the dark and you can't see them, and then you turn a corner and the eyes are glaring at you. It's a little scary.
Mm-hmm.
As a kid who grew up kind of afraid of cats. But I love cats now. But
Corey Stoll.
you're incorrect on both. I wanted you to give a name, but I was like, no. Jane. This kind of stuff is the stuff I don't love in the movie. It's like all the over the top, either. I don't know. I guess this is a cool effect though, visually. I would love to see Sam Raimi's take on this. I feel like essentially we kind of get a little bit of the Wanda thing in this, of her kind of being succumbed by it, but she doesn't turn evil. Instead, it starts to like kill her, right?
Right. Yeah.
Originally, I'd read the original plan was, they were originally going to have Jane become like the villain. They were gonna have her like get consumed by the ether and like make her evil and then make her the villain for the rest of the movies. But then when she kind of was like showing a waning of interest, and they realized that they wanted to quote flesh out Malekith more, which they still didn't do, they decided to drop the whole villain thing. Any other guesses for who else was up for?
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
I was just gonna say popcorn rocks.
Popcorn does rock. Oh, there he is. This romantic
Here's
moment.
Johnny.
Take my phone. How is the phone not covered in water? Whenever it's raining, I always have to cover it up.
The ether is stopping the rain from getting her wet.
Oh, I missed that detail. Oh boy, do I have trivia on the slap. Apparently, this is actually really, really funny. So apparently they like had to record the slap like over 40 times because she was always too timid when slapping him, and it wasn't looking real. So they kept having her slap him, and eventually by the end she just like was wailing on him and got that slap. But then when she has to punch Loki later, because she had been so annoyed at doing the slap so many times, she just went for it and punched him.
She punched Tom Hiddleston in the face.
Of course. So later on, you'll see that is a legit punch. And this was a legit slap, but after they took 30 takes to get it there. Do I think that's a little bit of malpractice? Maybe. Also, this is gonna kind of ruin the movie for you. You want me to tell you this?
Okay, go ahead.
She's standing on a box. Whenever there's a scene
Wow.
where they're close up head to head or about to kiss or kissing or whatever, they're always on a box or on a ramp because she was 5 foot. Let me find the actual height difference. She's 5'3" and he's 6'3". So, as you can see when they're standing there, he is very significantly taller than her. But when they're close up, she's a little closer to him
Yeah.
because of that. Like even that shot right there, you couldn't get
His
her in the frame and him in the frame at the same time.
Yeah.
So I think that's really funny. I like the
I
use of red
also
in this film. Just the ether and his cape and her hat and this red car. There's a lot of red.
I also noticed how they give Scarlett like kind of like platform shoes in the movie to make her seem a little taller.
Scarlet?
Scarlett Johansson, like in the Avengers
Oh,
movies.
I thought you meant this movie. I was like, how much have I forgotten?
No, she's not in this. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
they also try to make her appear taller next to all the
And
guys.
why? Like, we love our short kings and queens. We are both two shorter people.
Dale, how tall are you?
I'm 5'11".
Didn't I take your height on my wall? Did I take your height at my birthday?
Yeah, you probably did. I mean, I think I'm 5'10", but I like to round up. But
that's not short. I'm short.
Like, I'm told that's tall, but then like I feel like in high school I was one of the shorter ones, and then like when I went to college I was one of the taller ones, and now that I'm in the real world with like other adults, I feel like one of the shorter ones again. You know, like I just did a show in Long Island, and it was a 6-person cast, and I was comfortably the shortest one at 5'11", and I was like, oh, okay. Jane is in Asgard. A lot of the reason was not to bring Jane to Asgard instead of bringing Asgard to Earth again. A, to give it a little variety from the first film, but also B, because she really just wanted to have scenes with Anthony Hopkins. So they were like, we can make that happen. That's what I've heard. They're essentially just giving her the fish out of water story that like...
I'm surprised Jane hasn't been to Asgard before.
Right? I guess it's a lot of work. All right, so Malekith. We got to unfold the mystery. Which 2 actors? Time out. Sorry.
I want to keep guessing. I don't want you to say it.
No, I know. I was going to let you keep guessing. I'll also say while you're thinking about it, the Elven language in this film was completely made up for the film. It's a very Avatar-like thing where they literally created a whole language. Or like Minions, how they created Minionese. Like they've created a language for this film. And the actors had to memorize the actual language of the elves, which I think is pretty cool. Yeah.
All right. I have a guess.
Okay.
Lee Pace.
And you have to give me the pair because it's 2 people from the same movie that were up for the role, and then both lost it to Christopher Eccleston.
Sorry, I got a kernel in my teeth.
A colonel or a general or a lieutenant? You sure it's a colonel?
A private.
Private Butter. Colonel Pop.
Snap Crackle.
Yeah. Good. All right, yeah. So this is like Natalie's dream come true. She's like, I really want to do a scene with Anthony Hopkins.
Benicio del Toro.
And
those are my 2.
Oh, and Lee Pace. You are wrong, unfortunately.
Damn. All right, who is it?
Can I give you the movie?
Okay.
Doctor Strange.
Oh. Michael Stuhlbarg.
Think about dark elves and like which 2 cast members most look like they could be a dark elf. And that actually will help you get to it, I think.
Tilda Swinton?
No, that'd be funny though.
All right, Benedict Wong.
No, you got the first name right though.
Benedict Cumberbatch?
He's one of
Benedict Cumberbatch was in consideration to be Malekith?
He was offered the role and declined. Yep. And who else?
Mads Mikkelsen.
Correct. So Benedict Cumberbatch, Mads Mikkelsen, and Christopher Eccleston were the three. Christopher Eccleston got the part, or so they say. Maybe the others declined, but I think that's very fascinating. And then they go on to play the hero and villain of Doctor Strange, and I'd argue much better roles for the both of them.
Yeah, I agree.
And then
This
Mads
would have been a
Mikkelsen is
waste on both of them.
yeah,
Not
a
that
little like
he does.
I was gonna say a little 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. Mads Mikkelsen also played Hannibal Lecter, also played by Anthony Hopkins, who is in
Oh,
this
right.
film.
In the prequel series,
Yeah,
Hannibal.
yeah.
Not that Christopher Eccleston does a bad job, but this role is so minute in the grand scheme of the MCU that it would have been sad to just be like, oh, there went Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah. And he hated playing Malekith. He said, quote, he accepted it for the money. Eccleston especially
get that bag.
He especially disliked the long hours he had to spend in a makeup chair to complete Malekith's look. He claimed the process took 7 to 8 hours on the first days, and they finally got it down to 6.5 for every other day. Marvel had lied to him by not informing him about these extreme makeup requirements beforehand. My defense, I would gladly love to make buttloads of money if I just had to sit in a chair and let people put makeup on me. Granted, I don't know how extensive, like, I don't know if it hurts, but
well, I think you just have to like be still and like uncomfortable for a long time.
yeah, but you know what? Put on, like, let me listen to a podcast or let me like watch a movie or so. Like, I think there's a good way to kill time using your ears or your eyes.
You could watch 4 movies in the time that it takes them to put on all the makeup.
It would help you get through a watch list.
I'm not trying to defend him in any way. I would pay someone. I would pay someone to give me a role in an MCU movie and have me sit there for 10 hours of makeup.
As a makeup artist yourself, as one who had a makeup business, like, this is like, I kind of hate. I hate that attitude. I hate the whole like, oh, I had to sit in a chair for 8 hours. Like, those makeup artists work hard to make you look good.
Yeah.
The makeup here looks really good.
And plus, like, it's only the first couple days when they have to figure out how to get everything on you. And then after that, it's kind of like a well-oiled machine. Right. I don't know. I don't like it when actors sound ungrateful because there are millions of other actors that would have gladly sat in that makeup chair and put up with it.
I heard a interview with Zoe Saldana about Gamora's makeup, and it was kind of the same thing. It was like 7 hours the first time they did it, and then they got it down to like 5 or whatever. But every time she was on set, which is like a lot of times, but you're getting buttloads of money. She is in the highest 3 of the highest 4 grossing films of all time: Avengers Endgame, Avatar 2. And all those times she's had to like go through big physical changes in terms of Avengers doing the makeup, but then in the Avatar films having all the mocap dots and everything on there. Like, but she's making the money. Like, it's showing. Like, she's compensated for it. You know, it's not like she's doing it for the goodness of her heart, you know?
Right.
But granted, I do feel bad for Eccleston because he's the one actor who's like not in the marketing in terms of like his name's not on the poster, his name was not in the trailers. Like, it was rough. Frigga. She dies in this one. I forgot.
She does.
Sorry, people, if you're listening to this for the first time, if you're watching this for the first time. Ooh.
Then am I not your mother?
Yeah, like the Loki, Thor, Frigga stuff is so good in this film that I think this is a little underrated. But again, like the Ether Jane stuff is not. So
I don't love her hair.
You don't? Or you do?
No, I don't.
No, me neither. Ooh. So wait, what just happened there? Why'd she disappear like that? Was she not real?
I guess he conjured her to come see him.
Gotcha. That never made sense to me. A lot of Loki's powers seem very convenient. It's like, oh, he can do this. But he couldn't do it in the last film. But now he can do it.
Yeah.
I don't mind it, though. It's not that bad. Just an observation.
No, yeah.
Yeah, I think this movie has the least chemistry between the two, easily. And I really don't understand why. Because they just showed they had it in the first film. And she can have chemistry with a tree.
Yeah, I don't know.
And she's on... Actually, she might not be on a box there. I think because he's crouching over.
She's so much smaller than him in like
I
every
think she's on a box
conceivable
there.
way.
Where she's like sitting on something high.
Mm.
Is it really close?
Now we're just gonna be trying to figure out if Natalie Portman's standing on something or not.
Mm-hmm. And Rene Russo's 7 feet, so when Chris Hemsworth is with Rene Russo, he's on a box. I'm kidding. That's a joke.
What? I was like, Dill just misspoke. She's not 7 feet tall.
This throwing catching motion is an homage to The Great Escape, Steve McQueen. The scene where he's in his prison cell with his cell with the baseball.
Mm.
We love an homage to a freaking classic. Yeah, like this stuff is kind of ridiculous. Some of the visuals here, but
we get this shot again in Endgame of him tossing the cup or whatever it is.
Oh. Yeah, like I would have loved to see Raimi or James Gunn do like this stuff, like the burning from the inside and the exploding and like the body horror, all that, you know.
Mm.
Yeah, like this stuff comes across a little dumber and stupider than it should. So I think it's just not as well staged.
Mm.
How what?
I was just gonna say, like, how's that?
I don't know. I just think it looks kind of. I don't know. It's kind of silly. I don't know.
Hokey.
Yeah.
Knocks the sword out of his neck.
Yeah.
To the dungeons.
Of course, the one cell we're all like, open that one. At this point, have you turned on like Loki in terms of like, do you like Loki at this point, or do you still not like him?
I don't know. I kind of always really liked Loki just because I like the performance first and foremost.
Yeah. That's the thing, is I like hated him after Avengers, but then like this film kind of wins you back with Loki, even more so than Ragnarok. But like at this point in the movie, I'm still like, it just feels very separate from the Loki we saw in Avengers. Like he seems a little more chill here, to where I'm like,
I just think he's misunderstood.
Exactly. Oh, I love that.
Mm.
Like that was so cool. I'm saying this movie has cool bits. Yeah. Like that's the thing. Like you're almost kind of like, Loki, you're cool. But like I never got that at all in the Avengers, but I'm getting that here. Tom Hiddleston actually asked to direct the film, but then decided to take his name out of the running because he felt he was inexperienced.
Wait, what'd you say?
Tom Hiddleston volunteered to Kevin Feige to direct the film. He said, I would like to take a crack at it, and then decided not to at the last minute because he was like, I'm not qualified enough.
Oh, interesting.
Very. I love how they like try to make it a love triangle when like we have never established anything between Thor and Sif.
Yeah, what? Also, like Sif is like too cool for Thor.
Yeah, she's too cool for any man.
I agree.
I want her and Valkyrie to get together.
I thought Valkyrie's gonna get with Captain Marvel.
Maybe. We'll see.
I was at Target today, and they have their like Pride collection out.
Is it all Valkyrie toys?
And then, and there was there's a mat on the ground that said "gayest place in town" with the arrow pointing to like the door. It was like a welcome mat. No, like you could buy it like for your house.
Oh.
And I was like, that's camp.
Kelsey naturally bought it for all her gay friends. She's hitting about like...
Both of my roommates are gay. This is the gayest place in town.
You can't buy those in Florida. Sorry.
I don't think we get enough of Heimdall in this movie. Heimdall's really cool.
I don't think we get enough Heimdall anywhere.
Thor Ragnarok, we kind of get him a little bit.
I cannot, in my brain right now, tell you something Heimdall does in Thor Ragnarok. But then again, that's not one of my favorite movies, so I couldn't.
He leads them all to the cave. And remember, and Thor's like, Heimdall, like, I can, like, let me see what you see or something.
Yeah, but, like, I've always felt he's underutilized. I don't know.
Underutilized, for sure.
Michael Cera, originally in consideration for Heimdall.
Shut up.
That's another joke.
That was like, wow, you pulled that out of thin air.
I was just trying to think of the most opposite of Idris Elba I could find.
Michael Cera.
That was the name. Michael Cera and Millie Bobby Brown were the first two names that popped in my head as the most opposite of Idris Elba I could get.
That's really funny. Do you think Millie Bobby Brown is going to join the MCU?
I don't think so.
I kind of hope not.
I just don't really know why she would need to. Like, she'll be able to be a star and do her own projects, you know? It's someone like Julia Roberts. Like, Julia Roberts doesn't need a franchise. She's Julia Roberts. She built her name, was a mega star in the 2000s, and now everything she does, it's like, it's a Julia Roberts movie. It's kind of like George Clooney, too. It's like, it's a George Clooney movie. Oddly enough, They both did a movie together last year, Ticket to Paradise, but, like, if there's a George Clooney movie or like a Sandra Bullock movie, too, like, you're going to call it a this actor movie rather than a Marvel movie starring this person,
Right.
And then you have the actors who are both, like Harrison Ford, where it's like, this is an Indiana Jones movie, but then other movies are like, this is a Harrison Ford movie.
So, what do they want exactly? Like, they're coming after the ether?
Yeah. I believe so. Because right now we're in the midst of introducing all these Infinity Stones and how they're so essential, but we really don't get any connection between this and Thanos, really, but I don't know. This is like the second... Sorry, I keep putting you off, sorry. This is like the second movie where, like, Asgard gets destroyed. The next one even more so, but it's like, I don't know.
Asgard's not a place, it's a people.
Right.
I don't like that because it's not grammatically correct to say is a people.
Oh, yeah. Unless you're Jar Jar from Star Wars. He's a people! You don't know that reference.
Was that Jar Jar or Super Mario? I have no idea.
Touche. People often refer to the elves as the stormtroopers in this movie because they all kind of look the same, act the same, have no distinct characteristics between them, and are kind of useless in battle. as the stormtroopers are, especially with these little blaster things.
That was kind of cool.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like, there's moments where it's like that was kind of cool, but then like the grand scheme, I'm like, I will forget about this in 24 hours. By the time you all hear this on Monday, I will have forgotten I watched it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like the score for this film? Kind of like it. I think it's good.
It's pretty cool right now. Or is he just coming to kill... What's
Odin?
His name? Yeah.
I don't know.
See, like, we should know. This is like at least the 5th time I've seen this movie in my whole life. I should know what's going on.
I don't know why that cracked me up.
Frigga. I feel like you could dub it so it looks like he's saying fuck. You just
Oh,
fuck.
oh my God. I was about to say, Kelsey, do not drop an N-bomb on the
Are you
podcast.
out of your mind?
Well,
Never
that's
in
what I
my
thought you were
life.
going with it, because you were like, you could dub it to say, and I was like, Kelsey, do not say it.
No. Oh my God,
Because
never.
in my brain, every time he whispers that, that's what I think of.
That's crazy.
Oh my God. I thought you were literally just about to like cancel us.
Well, Frigga gets a cool moment here where she's
Oh yeah, she's
battling
badass.
with. She doesn't get enough in these movies either.
Remember when we did the Marvel hero bracket and we randomized it and she ended up being the number 1 overall seed? Like, and the number 1, Frigga, against number like
Deservingly so.
32, Black Widow. I was like, oh. And I think I voted for her. I think it was her versus like Nick Fury or something. And I was like, Frigga.
Okay, so I think he's coming to get the ether.
You could also dub that.
Oh, no, Dill. She was there talking to Loki, but she's a witch, so she can.
Oh, she was doing it all.
She was doing it, not him. Oh shit, did she just die? Oh.
So much is happening. Just like jarringly so. Ooh.
By the way we're talking about this movie, you think it's our first time watching it. We're like, what's happening?
But I think that's why it's not regarded as one of the best MCU films, is because it's like very forgettable. But like there are moments, like you know what happens.
That was cool though, when you saw the lightning strike from the hammer like hit him in slow motion.
And then in the real time the makeup changed too. Yeah. That might have been CGI, but
oh, for sure.
But like that happened so quick there.
Like,
so it's Frigga who's doing the shape-shifting.
Yeah.
Or like
if she got more in the first movie, this would feel heavier. But it doesn't, because like we don't even know her.
Yeah.
And also, I feel like it would have hit harder if Loki was there to witness her death. Because if anything, she's more of a mother to Loki.
Right. But then again, we get to see that in Loki, the series, where he actually watches it. And that's like tough for him. Because he probably always wondered what happened. Or like what it looked like.
Yeah.
I love this funeral procession because it's like it really gets down to like the Scandinavian Viking culture. And I like that aspect of this movie a lot. Like they really tried to make it feel like a Scandinavian godlike epic tale more so than an MCU film. I really think it doesn't feel like an MCU film, and that's I think why some people do dock it. But I really do think in moments like these, I actually kind of like how they're trying to make it more mythological.
Yeah, for sure.
But she really does go out quick.
Well, I think she got her neck snapped.
Yeah, it's just like, for some reason when I'm like, this movie, the big thing that happens is Frigga's death. But I'm like, it really is just so quick and so subtle.
And and now she just is in this going off on this waterfall in space. Oh, it stays floating.
Is this your first time watching this?
I guess I haven't watched it in a long time.
This Asgardian waterfall is modeled after the Dedifoss waterfall in Iceland. It's one of the largest waterfalls in the world, and it's apparently they literally photographed that thing from all angles so they could get the most authentic waterfall here. This is a very tangled moment here. I'm not talking about the long blonde hair either.
There is literally nothing better than some ice cold lemon water. Oh my god, it rocks my socks off every time.
Ice cold cucumber water is also very good.
Oh, I haven't had a cucumber water in a minute.
I like how Smart Water has started bottling cucumber water. I'm like, so now you're giving me artificially tasted cucumber water? That's gross. It's like, you need real cucumber, because the whole thing is that cucumbers have water in it already too, so you're adding even more moisture. You're getting more water with your water. It's like ice. When it melts, you get more water. It's like cucumber. You get more water. It's like watermelon. Oh, I love water. Another fun fact.
I love water
He's
too.
wearing. See the pants he's wearing? What colors are they, Kels?
They look like they appear to be a navy with a gold stripe going down the thigh.
Do you know what country has those colors on its flag?
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Norway.
Nope. Think about the character who's wearing them.
Oh, Eric Selvig. Sweden.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's wearing Swedish
Okay,
colored
so I
pants.
wasn't that far off when I said Norway.
No, but you're also wrong. So I'm just trying to get you to get there. I'm trying to help you study for trivia, Kels. Just
All
kidding.
right.
I'm not allowed to do that.
No, I know.
And for anyone listening who's also part of the Trivia League, because I'm sure every single member of Marvel Trivia is listening to this specific commentary.
Yeah.
Kelsey and I, if we're talking about something on like a commentary or a video, it's likely never going to show up in a match that she's in. Because then I know she knows the answer, so I'm not going to ask her a question that she knows the answer to.
I feel like
challenge them.
if you ever asked me a question that was on like a past doc we made together, I feel like I would be like, I've seen this question before.
Right. Though, yeah, I won't. We won't get into the behind the scenes, but like we're at the point now where some questions are going to be needed to be reworded. Instead of like who said it, now we can be like fill in the blank of this quote or what movie is this
Yeah.
quote from. So we might reuse like quotes, but we won't
Yeah.
reuse the actual wording of the questions. I really like those little fantasy sequences, by the way, that we just saw, like where she's like where everything's red, and it almost feels like certain directors made different parts of this film when in reality it was all Alan Taylor. But I think it's because Alan Taylor, what he directed, is actually pretty interesting. Very interesting use of tone and setting and visual aesthetic, but I think the editing is where it kind of all got jumbled at times, to where it became a little less unique in personality,
Yeah.
because he was quote locked out of the editing suite, which I think is just bonkers ridiculous. I actually have a quote from Alan Taylor about the look of Asgard in this film. He said, quote, "The first Thor was quite shiny, and it was a very conscious, smart choice. I wanted to get more of a sense of the Viking quality, the texture and weight of history. They've been around for thousands of years. To achieve this, the crew filmed on the coast of Norway, particularly the Lofoten Islands, for 3 days, capturing 6 hours of footage. Asgardian structures were then embedded over this footage."
Oh, I love that. I'm trying to think about what Asgard looked like in the first movie. Oh, I just gotta chill.
It's just a little more shiny and gold.
Yeah, you're right. They have been around for thousands of years. You think it would feel more ancient, where I think in this movie, I think he achieved that.
Right. He gets a lot more to do in this movie than I remembered.
You know what I just noticed, Dill?
Popped in and out, but he's got a lot of good stuff to do.
Frigga gets this big send off, this big funeral.
Where are you going? Yeah.
And Anthony Hopkins just like turns to Sparkles, and then Hela shows up. You think it would have been more of a big deal that the king of Asgard died in Thor Ragnarok, but I think so much happens in that movie that they just kind of had to have him die and then move along.
I think Taika wanted to make a comedy, and then Kevin Feige was like, "Oh, but we have to kill off Odin and destroy the hammer and make Hela take over Asgard and destroy Asgard." And he's like, "But I want to make a funny comedy romp." They're like, "Well, you have to put it in there." And that's where I think that movie, that's the criticisms I've had with it, is because like so much of it is fun and really entertaining, but then half of it is also like, end of the world destruction, where I almost wish it had the tone of this movie, where it's a little darker, it's a little more lived in, almost like it would have like two different movies at that point. Like have one movie where he's like literally whisked away to Sakaar, and then have the fourth movie being him coming home, and that's when Asgard gets destroyed. We can kind of go back to this tone of like Shakespeare and epic gladiator music type thing. It just doesn't, it clashes at times in that movie, and I hate to be like that guy who is always harping on why I don't like Ragnarok, but I don't know.
You know, I really like the score of that Thor Ragnarok.
Mm.
I think it's cool.
Couldn't even tell you. Okay, I just have to rewatch it. Yeah.
I can just hear like the like in Sakar.
Yeah. I do like the soundtrack. I remember the Immigrant song was used really well there.
Yes. But
Yeah.
I don't love a song that gets reused in movies.
So like everything that Taika does in the MCU. Or, well, I don't want to spoil Guardians 3, but they do reuse a track from the first Guardians in that film. But.
Yeah, but that's more of like because Guardians 3 is like a send off for those characters. So that's more like remember this kind of thing. That's fine. But like when you have one song play in the beginning and then also again at the end, I'm like, I don't know. I feel like we could have come up with something else here.
Right. But then again, is that any different than every time the Avengers, anything happens, you hear the dun 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 dun, like, you know what I
No,
mean?
because that's like their theme song.
Yeah, what if the theme song happens to be Led Zeppelin though?
You're missing my point, or you're just trying to be difficult.
Or I'm just trying to fill 2 hours of this podcast. Need
okay, so we're gonna talk in circles about this.
Contradict. Do you want to know how many weapons were designed by the prop department for this film?
Can I take a guess?
Yep, I'll tell you if you're hot or cold.
Okay. 623.
Cold as fuck.
Okay, not enough or way too many?
I'll let you guess another number and I'll tell you.
Okay, all right. 74.
You are frozen in ice.
okay. 1,895.
The ice is thawing.
What?
It's thawing, meaning it's melting a little bit.
Yeah, I know, but what? The number's bigger than that? 20,000.
Okay. Don't set fire to the ice sculpture right away, Kels. Okay. Yo.
So I'm cold in the opposite direction now?
You're hot in the opposite direction. You literally just scorched the thing.
No, hot is mean I'm close.
Oh, true. See, like, oh, okay, I get. Yeah, you're right. You're cold in the other. Yeah, you
Okay.
frozen again. Yeah.
All right. 5,000.
You're getting warmer.
2,902.
No, colder.
Oh, 7,000.
Hotter.
10,000.
Ooh, you're getting really hot. Like really hot.
12,000.
You're still really hot.
13,000.
No. Colder.
What?
You went from 10,000 to 12,000 to 13.
Okay, 11,000.
Yes, they made 11,000 prop weapons for this film. 11,000. Can you believe it?
Oh, I thought you were asking like how many designs they made of weapons, not how many
Might
like
have been.
physical
Like, for
weapons
example,
they
that
made.
spear is a weapon. There were 11,000 weapons made for this film, whether digital.
Did we miss Captain America?
Not yet. We're about to.
Oh, here he comes.
I love that performance. I love how we just didn't talk for that because it's great. Because he was apparently like Loki. Tom Hiddleston did his impression of Chris Evans on set when filming that scene. And then when they went to reshoot it with Chris Evans basically was acting as Tom, acting as Chris. It was very interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of like when...
Yeah.
Go
on. It's like what?
It's kind of like when... Sorry, I had to get my thoughts in order. It's kind of like when Helena Bonham Carter has to act like Emma Watson acting like Bellatrix.
That's such a good example.
Jesus. Sorry, I had to like do the math to get there.
Yeah. I also like how it's no longer Bonham, it's Bonham. She's boning him. Who's she
Sorry, is it
boning? Who's the
Bonham?
him? Yeah, it's okay though. She could be boning him too.
She can bone anyone she wants.
Yeah, I think she got divorced from Tim Burton though, so not boning him.
What? I didn't even know they were married, but this is gut wrenching news.
They might still be married, so I might have just made your day. Treason, I love the word treason. I wish we used that more as a society. Treason. You know what I mean? Like instead
Treason?
of being like "fuck you," you'd be like "that's treason." You know?
Treason! We
Yeah.
should bring it back.
Like I missed my train. Treason. That'd be awesome. Especially New Yorkers, we dig into that shit. You stole from the deli. You stole a pack of gum. That's treason. I don't know.
Wait, what? I'm Googling Helena Bonham Carter.
She's a cool gal.
Because I need to know.
She's got the
But
greatest pies in London.
but one of the autocompletes is what is Johnny Depp to Helena Bonham Carter?
Oh yeah, because they've done so many movies together.
Depp is godfather to Bonham Carter's 2 children.
Mm-hmm.
Who knew?
Yeah, the baptism they reenacted. Never mind. Never mind. I was gonna take this podcast to a dark place. No, never mind.
Okay, fine.
They say they reenacted a scene from Sweeney Todd at the baptism, but that would have been dark.
No, it says that they're still married.
Oh, why did I think they were divorced? That's my bad. Tim Burton, I am so sorry. Helena Bonham Carter, you bone him.
Do you think they met working on a movie together, or do you think they already knew each other and then he was like, "Hey, want to be in my movie?"
I feel like I knew the answer and I forgot the answer, and I'm sure you can find the answer.
It's in this article. After meeting on the set of Planet of the Apes in 2001, the couple collaborated on 8 films, including Big Fish, Corpse Bride, Sweeney Todd, The Demon Barber of Fleet Street, and Alice in Wonderland. Oh, the pair never wed, but had 2 children together.
Oh, so they're like,
they never got married, but they had 2 children, and then they broke up in 2014.
See, that's what I thought. I thought they broke up.
Okay, so and they lived. Okay, but they broke up in 2014, Dill. You're like 10 years late on this.
9 years late. You know, it was 10 years later, 2013. Let's get back to the movie.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
I'm wrong. I get it.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
No, that was actually a good segue back to the actual movie we're talking
about. Yeah, I'm watching now. I'm watching this terrible movie.
Chris Evans as Loki is very much like Helena Bonham Carter as Hermione.
Yes, that's why we brought up Helena Bonham Carter to begin with.
This stuff is very MCU, which feels very tonally dissonant from everything else in the movie. This particular scene, you know what I mean?
This like chase sequence.
This chase sequence, yes. Jane. I forgot Jane was in it. I really hate to be dissing on this movie because, like I said, there's cool stuff, but like there's so much stuff in between that just drags. Like this, I could care less. Actually, it's funny because we kind of like talked a little bit about it earlier with like Lady Sif and how like there was that look between Jane and Lady Sif and like where'd that come from? It's because in the comics, Thor is married to Lady Sif. So yeah. Actually, no, sorry, not in the comics. In Norse mythology. Sorry, I misread my notes. In Norse mythology, Sif is the wife of Thor.
Norse mythology.
Yes.
MCU comics, Marvel comics.
They also did it in the comics, but yeah. Yeah, Stan Lee is a Viking.
I do like their brotherly bickering though during all of this.
Yeah. Yeah, this is like the shades of stuff we see in Ragnarok that are really good, but I think the stakes of the movie in this are just a little bigger. Because the mom just died, and now they're, Jane's dying, and there's Zachary Levi, Shazam. Isn't it funny?
Did you say hackery?
Zachary.
Oh, I thought you said hackery, like he's a hack.
Well,
that's funny.
No, but Zachary Levi, it's funny because he's in this movie about a god of thunder, and then in DC, he is the superhero who has thunder powers. He's Shazam. So I just thought that's always pretty cool.
That is funny. Did you see that movie, Dill?
The new one?
Yeah, oh my gods.
What?
That's the tagline for it.
Oh,
The Shazam 2 movie. It's
Fury
like,
of the
oh
Gods?
my.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw it.
All right.
That's all I'll say.
That's
Rachel
all that
Zegler?
needs to be said.
Rachel Zegler's a star, as we all know. But the movie?
Have you
That's
seen
all I'll
that
say.
interview of her that's like, and they're like, why'd you want to be a part of this? And she's like, I needed a job.
Yes. Which, honestly, I
I needed
respect.
a
As long as you
job.
don't complain about it. As long as she wasn't like, oh, I needed a job. It was a pain. You know, like Christopher Eccleston, who's like, I needed a job and it sucked. I was like,
No, but I
no.
feel like that's so real though.
Yeah. Well, and for most actors, that's true. And I hate how they're always like, it just spoke to me, especially when it's like losing money. I'm like, no, like you can just say it was for the paycheck if it's
Right.
not good. But you also don't have to necessarily trash the experience either, like Christopher Eccleston did. Now,
No,
this
I
stuff was
agree.
all filmed in like all the Green Planet stuff is all set in
Yeah.
Iceland. Like that was all filmed in Iceland. What?
I want to go to Iceland.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
hear people are very nice in Iceland.
Almost as if it were called Iceland, you know?
Good one.
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah, he wants Ether. He's like, Ether's back. And like it's like the
He
cooking
can like
bear. You can
sense it.
smell it in the air. Yeah. I watched that again for a third time in the span of 2 months with my mom
Yeah.
on Mother's Day. I was like, this is about a mom and her children. The bear has
Yeah, in a
cubs.
way. In a
The
way.
mom is looking for her daughter who is leaving a trail of paint.
Yeah.
It's a mama story.
I almost wish like she got the ether and then it made her powerful because this is just lame. She's just sleeping.
Because then you could have just done Thor Thor Love and Thunder. Not even needed to make that movie. You just make her the Lady Thor here.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
But you know, you need to introduce that Infinity Stone. And Natalie Portman wants to take a nap, so it works out.
I would love to be in a multi-million-dollar movie and just sleep, just take a nap.
Yeah. Surrounded by these men just yelling above you. This stuff is so good.
She wouldn't want us to fight.
Oh.
See, it's like moments like that where Loki's like, Loki, get over here, you
Which is why
knucklehead.
I almost kind of prefer this characterization over even the Avengers. Because I feel like in the Avengers, he's like solely bad. Because you need to like just be rooting for the team 100% of the time. Here, I'm rooting for Loki a little bit.
Yeah. Trust my rage.
Yeah, I forgot about these two.
Having their own little like
side quest.
The B plot.
The B plot. Yeah, I was gonna say connected. I forgot that was our acting class's term for jinx until today when we texted each other the same thing. Let's start this recording at 3:00, and then we're both like connected. Or you said connected, and I was like, oh my god, that like triggered a core memory from high school.
Yeah. We would literally be like yelling at each other, like connected.
Yeah. Whereas at work, I'm like, Jinx, you owe me a soda. And they're like, all the soda's free to all the employees, asshole. I'm like, okay. Sorry.
Okay. I'll just get it myself then.
All right, yeah. Do you want to know what the working title for this film was?
Thor.
No.
And I wasn't done.
Well,
wait, it wasn't going to be called Thor?
No, the working title. So when a film is like filming or anything, and they don't.
You mean like
they don't want paparazzi?
Name?
Yeah, they don't want paparazzi to come. They don't want everyone sending their headshot to get a role in it. They call it a different name, and then that's also the name that's on the reel when they send it to the movie theaters. So that way, when the movie theater employees get it, they're not like, oh my god, I have to watch the MCU movie before it comes out. So the manager holds on to it, and only the managers know that it's Thor: The Dark World. Anyway, what do you think the title was? You'll never get it.
I didn't think I would. Inception 2. Okay, let me try again. I'll get 3 guesses, okay?
Okay. If you get it, I will personally walk to your apartment and hand you a $100 bill. If you're able to get it in 2 guesses,
a lot
with
is
your
on
hands
the
on
line
screen,
right now.
with your hands on screen.
Okay,
so
I'm not Googling it. Keep your
you
hands
get
on
it,
screen.
If you get it in the next 2 tries, I will hand deliver a $100 bill by foot to your apartment. It is raining today. No umbrella.
You could take a cab, Dill. You don't have to walk.
I will walk. If you get it in 2 tries here, I will walk to your apartment.
Okay, here's my second guess.
Okay. Now I really hope you don't get it.
Does it have anything to do with the movie? It's
Yes.
very random. Oh,
Yes.
It has to do with the movie? Okay.
In a way you will not understand until I explain it, but yes.
I got it. Elf Wars.
No. Okay, so you have one more guess. And keep in mind, people, her apartment is at least a 20-minute subway ride from another 20-minute bus transfer. So it's a 40-minute trip to her place by transit. So by foot,
That's
it's probably
because
about 6
you live
hours.
on the east side like a weirdo.
Okay, way to discriminate against my neighborhood.
Well,
and tell people
it
where
would
I
be
live.
more convenient if you lived on the west side. We could hang out more. Okay.
The city is literally connected by trains that can take you anywhere. Anyway. Also, is seeing me every week on video not enough for you?
No, Dill. I want to be with you all the time.
Great.
I had no plans today. I almost asked you if you wanted to go to a movie, and then you texted about the podcast, and I was like, oh, we're already watching a movie together.
True. Oh!
Aye! Okay.
Very Star Wars, that moment. All right, what's
all right, ready? Here's my last guess. The Legend of Captain Hook.
Thank God I don't have to look. No. So, because of that shot, I get it.
Yes.
Okay, so the title was called Thursday Morning, but morning was spelled like you're mourning a death.
Damn.
And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Thursday was named after the Anglo-Saxon name of Thor, aka Thuner, and Thuner's Day became Thursday. So the word Thursday stems from the god of Thor, Thuner's Day. That's why it's called Thursday, the day of the week. Thor's Day. Thor's Day.
Wait, what is Anglo-Saxon?
Like, I don't know. Like old English, like old language.
Oh, okay.
Like it's an Anglo, like, yeah. Or it's like a religious thing. I don't know. You're putting me on blast for knowing things that are outside the MCU, which I obviously don't know. Hold on.
No. Anglo?
It's when a guy named Angelo plays a saxophone. No, it's an early English language. It's like old English, Middle Ages English.
Because I've definitely heard that term before, but I've never really knew what it meant.
Yeah, so Thursday, the word Thursday derives from, that's the word I was looking for, the term Thuner's Day, which if you translate to English means Thor's Day. Thor's Day, Thursday, morning. He's mourning his mother on Thursday.
Wow. Oh,
so
that's
Thursday
really
morning,
good.
Thursday morning was the working title.
If only I knew more about Anglo-Saxon.
Yeah,
language.
if only you were smart. I'm kidding.
Yeah, only if I was an educated person.
No, I don't think anyone really connected the fact that when we say, oh, it's Thursday, it's really, we're saying it's Thor's Day.
Okay, so they just blew up the ether?
Mm-hmm. This movie's almost over. I can't believe it.
But he's able to just put it back together. So this is that moment in Act 3 where they think they've done it. and they just fucking haven't.
And you know what I like about this scene? It's a little cloudy and gray, which I don't normally like, but because it's so green, it still has a personality that like I can distinguish it. Like I said,
There's
earlier,
an
like,
atmosphere, yeah.
oh, into the eyes. What a fucking baller. Has he even said his first line of dialogue yet?
Who?
Malekith.
Malekith?
It was a joke.
Like in English, or
No, I just like can't remember anything he does. He also has a braid. They all have braids. They all have nice
lots
braids.
of men with braids in this movie, and I'm for it.
And lots of different hammers. Did you know there were 30 different hammers? 30 different hammers used in this movie for various scenes and stunts. Because some scenes they wanted to make it heavier, but for the action scenes you need a lighter hammer to throw around. So they have 30 prop hammers for this movie as part of the overall 11,000 weapons.
What was that? Oh yeah.
Oh,
sorry, I'm just reacting to this movie as if I've never seen it before.
Do you want to know? Sorry, I keep throwing information because now we're getting to the end. I need to get all my trivia out here.
Oh yeah. Tell me.
You know who the main antagonist of the movie was supposed to be?
Lady Sif.
No, she's too cool to be bad.
Eric
I'll give you a
Selvig.
hint. It's a villain and they use in a later Thor movie.
Oh, Searcher?
Yeah. So originally, this dark world was really going to be a fire world with Searcher being the villain trying to get this ether thing. And they actually had scouted out different fire dancers, like people who dance and play with fire, to be like the fire giants. But then they decided not to do the Searcher thing and to go back to Jotunheim and do the elves thing for another film, and instead decided to just make it a 5-minute cold open in the next film. Fun fact, the more you know.
Huh.
Do you prefer this? Or would you prefer a fire planet with fire demons and people throwing fire and cool stuff? Oh! Yep, and this is where everyone lost their mind, saying, Loki dies?
Yeah.
Myself included. The first time I watched this, I was like, shit, they killed off Loki. And then he died 7,000 more times in the MCU. It's actually funny you brought up
honestly,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
This makes me want to watch Loki again, the series.
Right. I think a lot of it pulls from this movie. You're right. Like a lot of the trauma in Loki's life.
Did you ask me a question?
I was just saying you brought up Lady Sif, and I have another trivia part here. She actually injured herself on the London movie set during this film. It was raining, it was dark outside. It felt like 5 a.m. It was 5 a.m. She went down a metal staircase and slipped a disc in her thoracic spine and chipped 11 of her vertebrae. She knocked her left shoulder out of place, and she tore her rhomboid on her right side. And she was out for how long do you think? Jamie Alexander.
2 weeks.
No, a month, but still, like, amazing recovery period for her to be out of filming for only a month after rupturing all those freaking things.
Wow. Ugh. And your back? You don't want to mess up your back. That's tough.
No. And then she came back with a vengeance. You know, she was in all the other movies and all the other shows and all that. And she's awesome. Yeah, so here everyone's like, oh my god, they killed off Loki. Even though we should have learned from Iron Man 3 when Pepper died, or the Avengers when Tony died. That
is this when he says, I didn't do it for him?
Mm-hmm. This stuff I hate. Where it's like, let's just cloud your vision and make it so you can't see anything. There we go. So dark.
Thor: The Dark World.
True. I guess I walked into that one.
Now I understand why you were like, what's the working title for this? And I was like, Thor, and you were like, no.
Because if it says Thor, people are gonna be like, "Oh my god, I want an audition."
Okay, because I thought you meant like a different title they were
Like the
considering
original
for the
title.
movie.
Yeah. Like the actual. Yeah. No, I should have specified.
Not like the code name.
I love working title. I almost kind of want to like host a game show on this channel where it's like, can you guess the movie? And it's like
Based off the working
it's like
title.
it's kind of like a 20 questions. We give you the working title, and then we give you 20 questions to try to get your way to the actual movie. So you can ask like, did it come out in the 2010s or the 2000s or the 90s or the 80s? You know, like that'd be a fun game.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll call it working title.
Dill, do you watch Cinema Joe on TikTok?
Yeah.
He like sits with the microphone in front of him, and he's like, here's everything, and then like it's his like letterbox.
Yeah.
Behind him.
Mhm.
I like him.
I follow him on Letterboxd. Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, he's cool.
Speaking of, Kelsey got a Letterboxd, and when it's ready, she will share it. But
yeah, I'm working on it.
Even though there's really nothing to work on, you just, if you see a film, you give it a star rating, and it adds to your films, and then you have a list of all the films.
Okay, I will.
It's great. We will actually hang out and we'll go through. I'll like get on a laptop and be like, "Have you seen this? Rating, boom, dude." And that's what I did with my mom when I got her Letterboxd. I was like, it's like Terminator.
See, this is what I need.
Yeah. Well, if you had guessed Thursday morning, I'd be there now.
Yeah, you're right.
I think I missed it, or it's coming, where he like hangs the hammer up like a coat rack.
Oh.
I heard that like it was an improv choice of his. It might be coming up soon. He like hangs Mjolnir up on like it's almost like a coat hook.
Oh, right here.
Right here. Yeah. I have it written down. Hour 23. Yeah, there you go. That was improvised. Such a good movie. Oh, and he's in it again. I forgot about him.
He's not wearing any pants.
All right, question. I was gonna say, if an old man came up and hugged you with his pants off, would you hug him back?
If it, you know, it's
even if it was your biological anything.
Yeah, I'd hug him back.
I mean,
is this an old man that I know well, or is this a stranger?
For me, it wouldn't make a difference. I mean, stranger, obviously, you wouldn't. But
well,
like she was just
head,
she's like, oh, and I'm like, dude, like his, I don't know.
Oh.
What?
Wait, something just connected for me. I think this guy is Loki.
Mm-hmm. Of course it is.
I didn't get this the first 5 times I've watched this movie. Maybe I've just been lying to everyone and saying, yeah, I've seen Thor: The Dark World. I've for sure seen that movie.
Yeah. This guy almost kind of looks like a little bit like Ryan Reynolds. A little bit.
Because it always confused me at the end when he takes over for Odin, and then, you know, he transforms back into Loki.
The way he smiled at him?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, last bit of trivia.
Okay.
There was an original director who was signed on to direct this before Alan Taylor. A woman was slated to direct this film originally, but left due to creative differences, and then went on to direct another superhero film. Do you have any guesses who that is?
Oh, I bet probably the woman who directed Wonder Woman.
Correct. Patty Jenkins. She was the original director on this and then got fired for creative differences or stepped aside. Backed out. She backed out herself. Natalie Portman was publicly upset because Natalie Portman herself said she only wanted to do the movie if Patty Jenkins was doing it. She was like, I only want to do it if Patty's doing it. And then when she backed out, something in her contract made it so that she couldn't back out of it. So Natalie Portman basically did this movie because she was contractually obliged to, even though she didn't want to if it wasn't Patty Jenkins. And the only reason she signed her contract was because it was Patty Jenkins. So that's a little upsetting. And that also explains why she seems so like disconnected. When she's literally one of our greatest living, breathing actresses ever. That's all my trivia, except for one little mid-credits thing. But that's all the fun facts I had.
Damn, I feel like this movie isn't long, but it feels long.
I mean, there's a half hour left, and it feels like it should be ending now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like in my brain, when I think about this movie, it's like Loki dies, and then like we're done.
Because he has the ether, and now he's gonna use it to plunge the world into darkness. But he needs to do it when all the realms are lined up, and they're all gonna be lined up on top of Greenwich in London.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to work through the plot out loud.
I think the reason it feels like there should be less time is because I finished my trivia about it, but I'm like, wow, yeah, there's like a whole third act now.
Maybe it just feels long because I'm crunched up sitting in front of my coffee table so that I had a place to put my snacks.
It's also like I feel like all the character development has kind of happened, you know. Now it's just a battle, and the most interesting dynamic being Loki and Hulk, Loki and Thor, is like kind of done because he's dead. I don't know.
Because he's dead.
I was gonna say you just lounged back, which took me back to last week where you were quite literally lying on the floor.
Yeah, because I didn't have a back rest last week, so I needed to rest my back.
I think this is probably why it took so long in the makeup chair, because now you have the burnt face too. So it's like you have the elf makeup, and now you have to add the burns, you know?
Right.
And look, another wormhole in the sky.
How'd you get out of the wormhole? What movie is that from?
No idea.
Iron Man 3.
Oh my god. You just made me feel like an idiot because we just watched it last week. I do love Iron Man 3.
I do love Iron Man 3. Out of these two movies, Dill, from 2013, which one's your favorite? Let's say it at the same time. Ready?
Well, at this point in the movie, Iron Man 3. But ask me again in 30 minutes. It might be different.
All right, I will. We'll check back in 30 minutes.
It will not be. Spoiler alert. For anyone who's only listening, not watching on video, I was mouthing the words "it won't be" while shaking my head no. And I was literally, when we started this, I was like, I think I'm going to come into this and kind of defend it a little. Kind of like what we did with Iron Man 3. Because a lot of Iron Man 3 was like us saying how cool everything was and how it was so great. I was expecting to do the same here. Now I'm watching it. I'm like, no. I still like it better than Love and Thunder. But I'm still like, I don't know.
I guess it's just because at the end of the day, this movie doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't make me laugh. It doesn't make me cry. It just exists. Where at least there's funny parts to Thor: Love and Thunder that, you know,
for you,
stick out. Okay, there's more than the screaming goat still. I know you didn't like the screaming goat.
The one moment that I liked was Korg and his husband, Dwayne The Rock.
Yeah.
The literal rock. But everything else, I was like, get me out of here, please. I'm held against my will. I felt held against my will because I knew I had a podcast. If I didn't have the podcast, I've never walked out of a movie. I've only walked out of one movie. We've gone over this on the podcast. It was March of the Penguins because I chipped my tooth on a popcorn kernel. I lost a tooth. It was a baby tooth. I lost it on a popcorn kernel. I was bleeding all over the place. And my aunt and mom were like, let's go. But I would never walk out of a movie. But Thor: Love and Thunder got me close. This wouldn't have got me close because I'd at least be like, well, what's going to happen with Loki, you know?
Right.
I think Loki's the reason why I put this above Love and Thunder in my ranking. Seeing some people's rankings, though, in the TikToks you've shared and the Rotten Tomatoes averages and all that, like, I get it. It's all subjective. So, like, obviously, Rotten Tomatoes, it's only a percentage of the people who are actually on Rotten Tomatoes. There's, like, hundreds of critics who aren't even on there, same as audiences. Like, I'm not on Rotten Tomatoes. So, like, if I were to give something a positive review, would that change it, you know? That's why I like to look at Letterboxd. But then again, it's like, that's still the metric that studios use to determine whether a film is successful or not. So it's all one big thing.
Well, you know, I was just thinking.
Oh, I like that shot of them going through the streets, and I like you know what? I kind of like all this stuff. How they're kind of like going through dimensions and shit.
No, this stuff that like goes through all the different portals and everything is cool.
I like it. Yeah.
Oh, I just fell through the earth.
Oh, is he still at the restaurant? Please tell me he's still there. Chris O'Dowd.
Still at the restaurant.
Was that the restaurant or was that like just an office?
It looked like the restaurant.
Yeah.
It
I would have
looked
loved
like
it if he was still sitting eating and deciding what he wanted to order. Be like, yeah. The waiter comes over and he's like, give me another minute. I think I'm gonna get the sea bass, but give me another minute. That would have been funny. But that feels like the stereotypical MCU humor, but like that would have been funny.
But even then, like that moment, we would have went, haha. Where it's like that doesn't happen in this movie. I mean, maybe sure some of the moments with Eric Selvig are like, LOL, he's naked.
See, no, when he hugs her with his pants off, I go, ugh. I don't laugh.
Okay, that shot of Hogan that just came and went, he's still standing in the same spot that he was when Thor left him at the beginning of the movie. Has he just been standing there this whole time?
Maybe. I also hated that shot of them just running in slow motion. It wasn't like they had a cool action jump or whatever. Because, like, if there's like a cool slow motion shot, it's usually someone like jumping, like him with the hammer or whatever. But that was just literally Eric Selvig stepping down from the platform in slow motion with his hand above his head. Like, why is that in slow mo?
Oh, he just ate someone.
Did they ever hook up or no?
Who?
Used to.
Yeah, they kiss at the end of the movie.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
Ian and Darcy.
Is this where they kiss?
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Darcy, that's an abuse of power. He's your intern.
I forgot she was wearing those red boots. Oh,
now they're kissing.
Oh, she dips him. That's funny.
I have red boots like that.
Meow,
oh
God, I hate that.
Darcy, Jane, Ian.
I like this too. This is funny.
Yeah.
Because he's so tall. Everything's red. Oh, she fell. Oh, on accident.
I would have loved to be that girl who just falls into Chris Hemsworth. Oh my God, what a day on set.
Oh, hidden Mickey. Hidden Mickey. That's another fun fact I forgot to mention. This is the first one produced solely by Disney. So the last Iron Man 3 was Paramount. Avengers, like they were different studios. Everything else was Paramount, and I think Incredible Hulk was Fox, I think. Or no. Sony. Incredible Hulk was like Sony. And then Spider-Man, of course, ends up being Sony as well. But this is the first one that's solely produced by Disney in the MCU. Fun fact.
Wow.
Yeah, there was a hidden Mickey. Like the portals, they made like the Mickey ears.
Oh,
I don't think it was intentional. Yeah,
I was
sorry.
like, what is Dill yelling?
Well, I could have rewound it and paused it and showed you, but that would defeat the purpose of the commentary where we just keep talking. And another wormhole in the sky, which I fucking hate.
You're not a fan of the wormholes.
It's just like every movie ends up with like a sky beam and a hole in the sky. And I'm like, be more creative, please.
I can.
You ever just get a text from someone that just makes you laugh?
Yeah. Do you want to? Can you share this text?
Not on the podcast, no.
Oh.
Well, actually, I might as well.
Now I feel left out.
My one friend, a great colleague of mine, directs for theme parks, and he's doing like this kind of like low budget animatronic show at this theme park. And have you ever read the Clickhole article where it's like the time the fox from Splash Mountain, the animatronic fox from Splash Mountain, told me he was gonna marry my dad?
What? Yeah. No, what are you talking about?
No, there's like a whole article, like, because Clickhole, it's like, or the Onion, I forget what website it's on, but it's like one of those parody article websites where like it's very clearly not real, but like they make these joke articles, and one of them is like 5 times the animatronic fox from Splash Mountain told me he was going to marry my dad, and it's like every story gets progressively weirder. It's like, I'm going to marry your dad Nicholas, or something like that, or it's like, I really love looking into your dad's eyes. It's like, it's funnier when you read it because it's just so random and so weird. And he sent a picture of one of the animatronic raccoons in the show he's doing and texted saying, I'm going to marry your dad. So
That's funny.
yeah, that's funny. Tommy, if you're listening, that I just got
I'm
your
gonna
text.
marry your dad.
Yeah. Anyway, still gray, still bland aesthetic.
Yeah, but you weren't seeing what they were doing, Dill. He was throwing those
No,
spikes at
I
him,
saw.
and then
I
his
saw.
arms. You saw?
I was I'm watching. I
So you
just
don't want me
was
to
telling the
describe
story.
it to you?
No, please describe it for anyone who was distracted by my Fox marrying my dad story.
So they officially defeated Malekith.
Yeah.
I had to yawn mid sentence, so I just took a pause.
They killed
Thor
Malekith. Yeah.
threw the spikes at him, and you know what? You just had to be there. You had to watch it.
I mean, I've seen this before, but
I love how she just stayed. Oh Jesus! Oh, he's about to get sliced by his own spaceship.
comfortably, if it weren't for Sonny Birch and Ant-Man and the Wasp, the worst villain in the MCU, hands down. I believe he was last in our ranking. I believe. You got the article. I sent you it.
Yeah. Who was
Don't read it now. Read it later. Oh,
No,
they're
I'm not.
kissing again. God, those
Yeah,
kids.
I'm happy for them.
But then we never see any more of them. Like, do you think
Not
they end
until
up together or no?
WandaVision. No, I feel like Darcy's too much of a free spirit. I don't think you can lock her down. I think she gets bored and then she's like, all right, on to the next.
Yeah. That poor guy was probably like, oh, I'm going to be like the next like funny side character in the MCU. And then they're probably like,
I have a fun fact, I think.
Yeah.
So this shot is obviously Natalie Portman.
Yes, I think I know where you're going. Yeah.
But then it's not Natalie Portman. And I'll tell you when.
I will let you tell us because I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay, let me tell.
I just said I'll let you tell. So when we get there, you'll tell.
All right, thank you.
It's almost as if she had a disinterest in being in this film and said, I'm so disinterested in this film that I'm not even gonna do that thing that any other actress would die to do.
But I also think like it was
Chris.
like I can't imagine anyone being mad at Chris Hemsworth, although he is a Leo and he is a man, and Leo men are toxic.
No,
but he
it was
seems
definitely
like a really nice
it was
guy.
definitely a reshoot where she couldn't be there for sure.
Yeah,
there were a lot of reshoots with this film apparently. Like I think that was another frustration with Christopher Eccleston is he was like, I'm not even on the poster, and they're making me sit through makeup for all these reshoots and all this shit. So you can even tell the way Anthony Hopkins is standing here that it's like Loki. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You think that was a choice he made?
Oh yeah, that's why he's one of the greatest of all time. Have you seen The Father, the one he won the Oscar for a few years ago?
No, because it looked boring.
Oh no, it's not boring. What it is depressing.
Oh, okay.
Like sad. It's a guy with Alzheimer's, and every scene, every scene, like the scene like starts to repeat itself. Like you see it from his eyes. It's like you're living in the body of someone. It's so well done.
Maybe I'll watch that tonight.
Great performance though. Like such a good performance. Like his performance is like none other.
The one eyebrow.
I would honestly, if I had to pick a best actor in this film, I think it's Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, he's a renowned actor for a reason.
No, I mean like for these performances alone.
Yeah.
Like favorite actor of the bunch, it's Natalie Portman, but like in this movie, it's Anthony Hopkins, I think. Now I want to see a movie where Anthony Hopkins and Natalie Portman act, but not in the MCU.
So, seemingly, what has happened here is that Loki comes back, tells Odin, "Oh, Loki's dead," as the Asgardian guy, and then ships Odin to a fucking old folks' home on Earth in New York City, and then comes back and is taking over the form of Odin. That has happened in this movie.
Pretty grim, huh?
Yeah.
And then the whole theater went, "What?" I wasn't in the theater for this, obviously, but like I'm sure they all went crazy.
Are we
Or they were all
watching
sleeping.
like an extended version? I swear there's like moments that we haven't seen.
The moment you were going to talk about the trivia is a post-credit, and then the other
No.
trivia I have is another post-credit.
Okay.
Yeah, because I know exactly
Don
what you're talking
Payne
about.
and Robert Rodat.
Oh. Sorry. Victoria
What?
Alonso. No,
Yeah.
that was, yeah. Yeah, the movie just kind of ends, and you're like, all right. I guess the Loki thing is like a cool final thing to end on, like, boom, drop.
Who
He's
is
still alive.
that?
Because it's the
Yeah.
first of the fake outs for us. So at least it's like, there's a little bit of like, ooh, he's still alive. Whereas now, if that were to happen, you'd be like, oh, for fuck's sake,
And it's interesting that you said at the beginning, Dill, that he wasn't going to be in this movie at all
At
when
all.
like he is the end cap of this movie. It's like his
Yeah.
him being alive is the big reveal at the end.
We went from Surtur being the main villain and no Loki at all to now Loki being in it and like Malekith being the villain. Like it really took
Yeah.
a 180. And I don't know what the original script was, and I'd love to read it just to see.
Mhm.
All right, so we're looking, of course, for names of foods, courtesy of Dan Merle and Mara Kanopic's movie game. When they do their commentaries and watch-alongs, they look for names of foods in the credits. Dennings is not Dinings, so it doesn't count.
Okay. I
Zachary
haven't
Levi
started
does
yet.
nothing for me in this movie, by the way. Nothing for me.
Well, none
Kind
of
of
the
a
friends
waste.
really do anything. And I think
He does.
Chris O'Dowd with Renee Russo and Anthony Hopkins.
As Odin, in case you forgot.
Delicious.
I like these post-credits. I love the credits in every Marvel movie. They do such a good job with, like, everything. All right, so, like, not a great film, but we got a post-credit here. This is my little bit
When
of
they
trivia.
take the ether to the collector, now he's like, only 4 more to go, or whatever.
Let's say, this is the only part of the film not directed by Alan Taylor. Who do you think directed this scene?
James Gunn.
He did. So
Who is
technically,
James Gunn?
who is James Gunn? The director of Guardians of the Galaxy.
No, I was answering as if it was Jeopardy. I've been really into Jeopardy lately.
Oh. So you understand that the reason they answer questions is because the actual question is a statement.
Yeah.
So they respond with the question. But I asked a question, so you would answer with an answer, not a question.
I was just doing a bit, Jill, and you're like making me feel bad.
No.
about it.
So I'm gonna help you with the bit right now. Ready?
Oh, okay.
This director came in to film a scene for the post credits of Thor: The Dark World.
Who is James Gunn?
Yeah, there we go.
Do you think there'd be a Marvel Jeopardy? Karina.
No. Unless we want to reformat our show to make it where all the answers have to be questions.
I want there to be one Jeopardy where it's like superhero movies is the category.
I'm sure they've done it at one point, but maybe for like the teen Jeopardy or something. Yeah.
Let's see if there's any East.
I was gonna say, yeah, is Cosmo in here? Is Howard in here? The duck or the dog. That didn't feel like we were watching a movie for too long, though. Like, I like how short it is. It's kind of nice.
1 down, 5 to go.
Oh, making sure it doesn't autoplay Iron Man 3. Yeah, so there you go. We're gonna get one more scene, but that's it. In memory of Don Payne, the writer who passed away. Yeah. So overall thoughts of the movie, Kels, having watched it, love it, hate it, mediocre.
I'm just indifferent to this movie, Dill.
Yeah.
Like I was saying before, like you don't really walk out of it really feeling anything. Like you don't walk away like, oh, did you see those action sequences? That was cool. Oh my God, that movie made me laugh so much. Oh my God, did you cry during that part? Yeah, me too. Like it just kind of happens. And it doesn't leave a lasting impression on you. And I think that's why most people forget about it. And therefore it's lower ranked on people's lists.
And I think if we didn't get Endgame and Loki, the Frigga death would mean less too. I think it's some of the moments in this film I think are enhanced by other films, Like, I
Right.
think the Frigga moment, especially in Endgame, like, that really strengthens it. But, like, on its own, I didn't really know Frigga enough to care too much. I cared about Thor and Loki, but even then, like you said, we didn't get Loki's reaction. Like, I think there was a good movie inside of it, but they fumbled it. What would
I
you give a
agree.
star rating for this one? I'd probably give it a 4 out of 10. 2 stars.
Yeah, I get behind that.
You can log it on Letterboxd right now.
I'm gonna do my ranking of all the MCU films, I think, first and
Nice.
foremost, because I
Yeah, but
think
you can
that's
literally
on
just
brand.
so how a Letterboxd, you would just like
Yeah, Dill, I feel like you need to give me a crash course.
so I type in Thor the Dark World, and here it is. I'm on the Letterboxd page for Thor the Dark World. I hit this little boom boom here, and I put 2 stars, and then I can press done, or I can even make a review of it, which I have in the past here, and like actually
Yeah.
log it. And then like when you go to your diary, it'll say what you watched when. Well, we'll have a
Dill,
crash course someday.
read
But
us your review of Thor the Dark World on Letterboxd.
my original one for 2018,
Yeah.
opposed to the one I'm about to write. Okay. This is what I originally wrote on. I called this series I was writing The Road to Infinity War. This was number 8. Lord of the Rings in space sounds like a cool idea, but it doesn't really work here. I'm 20 at this point, so this is 5 years ago. Visually, this film hits all the right marks, embracing its title and showing us a darker side of Asgard, a land that is still majestic to the eye since its introduction in 2011. Loki steals the show yet again. Tom Hiddleston delivers even more on the slyness and wit, making Thor look like the secondary focus in his own movie. It's often easy to forget that the real villain here is actually supposed to be Malekith, but Loki's presence just obliterates any other villain from even stepping into the spotlight. This will probably be the last time you'll read Malekith's name before letting it fade away into the vast pool of nothingness, forever being scrubbed away from your brain. Remember now, Malekith? No? Good. I appreciate its effort from an artistic standpoint, but unfortunately, Thor the Dark World is truly a dark point in the MCU and will likely go down as one of the franchise's weakest films. That is a 20-year-old review.
Hey,
a
I think it
5-year-old
holds.
review of a 20-year-old's words of Thor the Dark World.
Yeah, I think it holds up.
Yeah, I like the line where I say, "Remember Malekith? No, good,
Good. You're lucky."
It's like that episode of the Playbook with Barney in How I Met Your Mother, where he's like, "You got that? Good." And he like smiles at the camera and like winks and nods and smiles. All right, I haven't found any words, but I haven't been looking. Chris Van
That
Dyke.
guy's name is Harder.
Can't eat harder either.
You said dick and I said harder.
You might be able to eat it if it is a harder. Never mind.
No. Not gonna go there. Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street.
Can't eat him either.
Oh, Dylan, Mike Dylan.
You can't eat me. And if you do, put some paprika.
Don't knock it till you try it.
I was gonna say, if anyone were a cannibal and like wanted a victim, I'm not offering myself up, but like I feel like I would taste good.
Dill, I had a nightmare about cannibalism in my dream.
We're like at the end of this. I totally did not look for any names.
You were there, by the way.
Was I a cannibal or getting eaten or?
I think.
Please don't tell me I was a cannibal.
Someone wanted me to lure you out because there were cannibals and you could be friends with the cannibals.
Oh, so they were looking for me.
Yeah, they wanted to eat you.
Okay.
And they were like, go get Dylan and like lure him out to our place in the woods. And I did. And then I felt so bad. I was like, Dylan, you got to get out of here. Yeah, because it was, I didn't want to get eaten.
No names with foods, at least not that I saw. Speaking of foods, Chex Mix.
Or Life cereal.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah.
That's a trivia question you won't get now. Sorry. What cereal is Jane Fox eating in the post-credit scene?
That would be crazy.
So yeah, Kelsey, why don't you tell us the trivia before this movie ends?
Okay, so this is obviously Natalie Portman right here.
Really?
But this woman who's running up to kiss Chris Hemsworth is not Natalie Portman.
Nope. Who is it?
It is Chris Hemsworth's wife. I don't know her name.
You don't have her name. No, it's fine.
I'll find it.
But yeah, Chris Hemsworth's wife is the one who kissed him in the post credits, and apparently they did a lot
Elsa.
of takes. Elsa
Her name is
Hemsworth. There you go.
Elsa.
So there it is. That's Thor: The Dark World.
Oh my god! Guess when Chris Hemsworth's birthday is.
Oh, May 20th.
No, I said he's a Leo, Dill. And it's
August
a birthday
11th.
you know very well. Yes!
My sister's birthday.
Yeah.
Not this sister. My other sister that was born a day
sister.
before my sister. I've
My
always said
birthday's
it's
August 12th.
really, really fun to have both your sisters, because Kelsey's not biological, but you know, like she may as well be.
Clearly.
But Kelsey and my sister are both born a day apart. Not really, like born like 3 years in a day apart, but my sister was born on August 11th. But Kelsey's birthday is August 12th. But it's also bad because you're both Leos. You try to make my life miserable at times. But it's okay. I still love you both. That's to Thor: The Dark World, though. That's
it was.
So leave your comments. How much did you suffer, or did you not? Do you love this film? Do you reappraise it? All that stuff, and tell us what direction you'd like Thor to go to in the future. Maybe the sequel will have Jeff Goldblum in it. Oh, spoiler! It does. Any other words, Kels? Where can they find you? They've been looking at my handles all the time. I'm not even going to plug it. Where can they find you, Kels?
Well, if they've been looking at your handles, then they're definitely looking at mine. And to that, I say, hey, my eyes are up here.
That really was funny.
Thank
that
you.
Was good.
Thank you.
That was solid comedy. 10 comedy points.
Thank you. You can follow me on Instagram at Kelsey A. Kilpatrick, or you can follow me on TikTok. Cause13, or you can follow me on Letterboxd, and my Letterboxd is
what?
That face you made was so funny. You were so excited for me in that moment.
I'm never gonna do it again because my vein is popping out of my head. I need
No, that was amazing. What's my name on Letterboxd? I think it's Kelsey Kilp.
You're asking
Kelsey Kilp.
Let me look at my recently following.
Okay.
Kelsey Kilp. Yep. Capital K, capital K. Only 2 Ks because 3 would be white supremacy. You can find her at Kelsey Kilp at Letterboxd. Get it?
Yeah, I got it. Yep.
All right. Bye, y'all. We'll see you next week for some Marvel trivia.